Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Cranky Pundit podcast. I'm your host, Matt Morgan, Cranky Pundit. How y'all doing today? Just a couple of things to run over on today's podcast, guys. A lot happened over the weekend. Managers got sacked. Teams got beat. Big results for Arsenal. All that kind of stuff. The three things I want to cover today is the sacking of Graham Potter, the sacking of Brendan Rodgers, and by himself, Trent Alexander Arnold. Right, so before I start, I'm not going to say anything much about the Liverpool team, I suppose, because we can write this year off, to be honest with you. It's been an absolute terrible year to be a Liverpool supporter. But then again, they've given us so much over the last 5 years. So I'm not going to diss the team. I'm not going to diss Jurgen Klopp. It's just a transition period. But what I seen at the weekend against Man City was actually the saddest I felt. Do you know, because we lost to Nottingham Forest. We've lost to Bournemouth. We've lost to Leeds. But that one hurt a lot because it's Man City, do you know? And even if you're 4-1 down, we've been beaten 4-1, 5-1, 5-0 by Man City at the Etihad. That's not a problem. Any team can get a hammering at the Etihad. It's how we went about it. Like, to be honest, we beat Man United 7-0 there a couple of weeks ago. We're very lucky that City weren't as ruthless as us, because that could have been a cricket score. Like, they did whatever they wanted to us. Now, the one man I'm going to pick out, well, before I get into him, we finished with a midfield of the Ox, Milner, Henderson, and Fabinho. Like, I love Henderson. Maybe he's past it. I love Fabinho, but I don't know what's gone wrong with him. But the likes of Milner and Ox got to go. Naby got to go. There's a lot of players that really need to go. But what I will say is, why is the Ox not given a go at right back? Why is James Milner just not thrown right back? Joe Gomez has had a disaster of the season. Throw him right back. Throw Kanate right back. I don't care. I'm sick of this loyalty towards Trent Alexander Arnold, and all the Liverpool fans as well are just, he's homegrown, give him a chance. How much more of a chance do you need? Loyalty will get you killed in this game. Killed, like. No one's loyal that goes to win the league. Do you think Man City are loyal to their players? Do you think Alex Ferguson was super loyal to Roy Keane and all these boys? No, you reach a point, you're a piece of meat, and if you're not doing it, go away. Now, Trent is one of the best right backs I've ever seen in my life. He was never that bad at defending. Now, defending was never his forte, if that's a word, but he was never that bad, okay? Every week, the left midfielder against us is man of the match. Whether that be Jack Grealish, Mitoma, Rashford, I don't care who it is. Whoever's playing left mid against Trent is getting man of the match. And once you go around him, he stops running back. Now, even at an under 10 level, if you go down and watch the young fellas down the park, if you see a 9 or 10-year-old not jogging back and the manager doesn't have a word with him, take him off and tell him why he's been taken off, well then, that's not a good manager, and that's not how you should be teaching young fellas to play ball. We were supposed to be singing his praises as well. He didn't get called up by the England team, which I completely understand. I was one of these guys last year going, how can Gareth Southgate not pick Trent Alexander Arnold? And then I watched Kieran Trippier yesterday for Newcastle, and he was outstanding. That's why he's not getting picked, because Kieran Trippier is brilliant at going forward, but he does the basics at the back line. You're right back first, mate. How many times do you see Kieran Trippier getting caught with a ball over the back? His position is perfect. He's running, he sees the man, he sees the cross. Basics. This is not of a professional standard. This is basics. What you would expect from any amateur right back that's been playing more than 10-15 years. Yeah, his body might have gone, he might be eating kebabs every night, but he knows how to play right back robotically. It seems that Trent doesn't know how to play right back anymore. And you know what I don't like is the attitude and the look on his face when things go wrong. Like, make it look like it hurts, mate. Like, look like it hurts. We're all there, he's a local boy. Steven Gerrard, like, that's a local boy. I'm not on about talent, but how it hurted him. Everything hurted him. When Liverpool hurt, he hurt. Do you know? It's like Trent Alexander's playing for himself, and right now I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of all the young fellas going, give him a chance, he's homegrown. You're obviously too young to remember when Michael Owen signed for Manchester United. You're obviously too young to remember when Fernando Torres signed for Chelsea. Okay, we've gotten burnt. I loved Michael Owen far more than I loved Trent Alexander Arnold. I love Fernando Torres probably just as much as I loved Trent Alexander Arnold. They broke my heart. So, like, get rid of him. Not even, like, if you're that loyal to him, send him out on loan, put him on the bench for 6 months. But that man owes all of us 3 months of consistent performances before we could ever sing his praises again. That's just my opinion, guys. I don't think there's been a worse player in the Premier League. Maybe in Europe. I don't watch all the leagues. He's the worst player in the Premier League this season. What team would he get on? You're there. Even Liverpool fans are saying he's world class. Who'd take him? If I was Aston Villa's manager, Unai Emery, and I've Matty Cash right back, I'm sticking with Matty Cash instead of this liability. Like, do you know? I don't care who you play for, boy. I'd take Luke Ayling for Leeds United ahead of Trent Alexander Arnold right now. And guys, I love Liverpool. I'm a die-hard Liverpool fan, and this is why it hurts me even more. Because I know, as well as me and hundreds of millions of people around the world would die to wear that shirt just once. Would die. And then you have this man not tracking back, sulking, pussying out of tackles. I don't know, am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Probably not. Ducking out of tackles. Like, for the second goal, we're all going, like, Man City scored straight after half-time the last day. The game was in the balance 1-1. Now, they stretched us and all that, but all that stems from a 50-50, I will go as far to say a 60-40 in Trent's favour against Gundogan, and Gundogan took it off him. And that's where the goal stemmed from. Jack Grealish is not that good, lads. Jack Grealish is actually a flop. All in all, he is a flop. And I knew it. I even said it. I was like, he is going to have the game of his life today. Not because he's brilliant. It's because Trent Alexander Arnold is up against him. I'm an amateur winger, guys. I wouldn't mind to go off him at this stage. Like, it doesn't seem to take much to beat him. He switches off at the back post constantly. So even if you're as shit as me, you're probably going to get one chance in that night. He's going to give you one chance in that 90 minutes from switching off and not caring enough about playing for Liverpool at the moment. It wrecks my head. Henderson can be past it. Firmino can be past it. Salah can be past it. There's nothing wrong with being past it and giving it all to the club. But this man's 23, 24 years of age, and he's looking like he doesn't care. Well, go away then, boy. You are nothing on what I felt from Michael Owen. When I was 6 years of age, oh my God, my name is Mike, his name is Mike. I was out my back garden pretending I was Michael Owen. Do you know what I mean? And then when I become a teenager, he's playing for Man United. That's your heart getting broke, like. That's your heart getting broke. So don't... And even... I remember my younger brother, who was also a die-hard Liverpool fan like myself. And I remember he must have been 11 or 12 when Fernando Torres left. When Fernando Torres left for Chelsea, my little brother was devastated. He grew his hair like Fernando Torres, like there's pictures of him around the house. He has a long hair, like when I had long hair. I wasn't doing it for Fernando Torres, but my brother just wanted to be Fernando Torres. He did. He has his boots. He wanted to run like him, look like him. Everything was Fernando Torres. And I remember he left for Chelsea, and my brother was heartbroken. And what we did, we took his Fernando Torres jersey, we went outside, and we burnt it. And we left it up there for a week. That's what we did. That's how we treated it. That's how much me and my brother were emotionally invested in Fernando Torres, right? And then the postman came the next day, and he seen the burnt jersey, and he said it to my mum. He goes, tell the two boys they're dead fucking right. He's a Judas. He's a Judas. That's how much it hurt all of us. So I think a lot of the new Liverpool fans, or the young Liverpool fans around the place, haven't been burnt. Because we're just in such a good place I will go as far to say the last 10 years. We're in such a good place from the Brendan Rodgers era up to this moment. We've been in a very good progressive place, okay? So no one's ever going to leave us. So that's why ye in your own heads think, he's one of our own. He's one of your own will get you done, kid. It'll get you done. Don't be falling in love with these Michael Owens and all these fellas. Obviously, let them take you. Let the passion take you. But basically, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is I loved Michael Owen far more than I will probably ever love another player again. So losing a fella that's homegrown and all about Liverpool, it don't mean as much to me anymore. And I think if we're going to get very bad, which it looks like Liverpool are, if we don't sign fellas, if the owners don't let us go to some oil tycoons or something, we could be on a 5-year flop where you could be seeing our best players go to our rivals. Do you know what I mean? It happens. Van Persie went to Man United, mate. It happens, like. Do you know what I mean? So, Trent Alexander Arnold, I'm sick of you, mate. You have to just get dropped. Don't play another game for the rest of the season. We're probably out of the top 4 now. Now's a moment about making points, making a stand. Do you know? Because Jurgen Klopp his best attribute is loyalty, and his worst attribute is loyalty. Same could be said for Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger, unbelievable, so loyal, but also his downside was him being loyal. And I see very huge links between the two of them. Two very likeable managers, but that's their downfall. Loving players longer than they should. Like Alex Ferguson. Like, I'm a Liverpool fan. Alex Ferguson's the greatest manager of all time. If you're a Liverpool fan and said Klopp is better, you're deluded. Like, Klopp needs to do what he's been doing for the last 7 years and do it for another 20 before he'd ever. Like, he's an amazing manager, all that kind of stuff. But Alex Ferguson, if he had Trent Alexander Arnold on his hands right now, what would happen? What do you think would happen? In my opinion, I think he'd be on the bench since October. And I don't think you would have seen him since. That's my opinion. And it would have been right. He would have brought in some young fella. He would have got a fella in on loan in January and gone, I would have brought Nathaniel Klein back from Crystal Palace. That's what I would have done. Because we also signed a young fella from Aberdeen or something, and he seems to be injured the whole time as well. I would get any right back. Any right back. Lose the game 5-0. Let this guy be worse than Trent. I don't care. I'm sick of looking at his face, boy. Sick of it. And like, it all comes from a loving place, like, but it's gone way too far. It's gone way too far. I'm not going to bitch about the whole team. I think the whole team and Trent have done so well for us in the last couple of years. I'm not saying sell him, but I'm saying stop starting him. He doesn't deserve to start. Simple as. All right, so that's Trent Alexander Arnold. Gone. All right, okay? That's that off the list. Now, the next thing I want to move on to is Graham Potter getting sacked from Chelsea, which is kind of callable, to be honest. I don't think it's his fault. A lot of people were like, Chelsea is way too big for Graham Potter. Maybe in the Abramovich era, I think he would have done very well. I don't think a single manager in world football would have done a good job in the way Chelsea are playing right now. Chelsea have signed 300 million worth of players in 6 months. That's only since Graham Potter has been there they've spent 300 million. They spent a lot more with Tuchel as well in that same transfer window. Okay? Like, you 40 players, they're all superstars. Even if they're past it, like Aubameyang and all these fellas, they're all superstars in their own head. That's the hardest thing to make happy in the world. You can have one superstar, maybe two superstars, but that's it. They all can't be superstars, and then you got to manage their egos. You don't even have a place for all of them on the bench. Most of them have to sit in the reserves. So, like, I don't think that's Graham Potter's fault. I think it's the Chelsea owner's fault. The Americans, they don't have a fucking clue what they're doing, guys. And Chelsea are going to become bankrupt. I am not a guy of finance. I don't have a financial degree. I know fuck all about anything, really, to be honest with you. But I can't understand how Chelsea won't become bankrupt in 5 years' time or in 4 years' time. Can a financial advisor or a banker just ring us on the Cranky Pundit and explain to me how Chelsea are not going to go out of business in the next couple of years? Because it makes no sense how they're spreading their finances over an 8-year period. Okay, I get that. They're spreading the books. But then inflation, they're going to devalue the players. So, and I don't know. Look, again, I know nothing about nothing, but like, they're going bankrupt. Simple as, they're going bankrupt. So Graham Potter spent 300 million in 6 months. It cost the Americans, right, 21.5 million to sign him from Brighton. And in order to sign him, they had to sack Thomas Tuchel, okay? So Thomas Tuchel got paid 13 million to be let go by Chelsea. So 13 million plus 21.5 million is 34.5 million before a ball was kicked, before a training session was taken by Graham Potter. They spent 34 million on managers just to get him in the door. Coaching staff, compensation fees, all that. 35 million. Before he's even taken a training session, right? That's ludicrous. First of all, we'll go back to the Chelsea fans again. Some people said Thomas Tuchel was the right... Why is just because Thomas Tuchel didn't have a great start to the league this year? Surely he had enough credit in the bank after winning the Champions League a few years ago. Now, I know Chelsea, they're a different club, and if you don't do well, they sack you. Whatever about that, yeah? But Thomas Tuchel... it's not like it was Felipe Scolari or Andre Villas-Boas. This guy was brilliant. Look at him now. Bayern Munich have snapped him up straight away, and that's where he deserves to be because he's a top-class manager. It just feels like the Americans only knew football 3 weeks, and their guy wasn't doing well, Thomas Tuchel, and Graham Potter was doing amazing. at Brighton, and they're like, oh my gosh, should we just sign the Brighton guy? I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? He's a young, charismatic, new English manager. I don't know anything about this Thomas Tuchel guy. He must suck because we haven't won many games in the open. Let's just sign this guy, Graham Potter. I mean, I know I've only been following football 3 weeks, but he's the guy, right? Like, nothing wrong with Graham Potter. I think Graham Potter will actually come back up to the top yet again. He's a great coach. It was a poison chalice is what it was. Now, you sack Thomas Tuchel. That's just idiotic. That's just shitting the pants at the start of the season because you're not top of the league like you thought you were. You know? And now it's actually kind of like, all right, okay, look, I'll go on with the finances before I make my emotional points, okay? So, yeah, like I explained, it cost 35 million just to get him in the door. Now to sack him after 6 months. Graham Potter is actually entitled to 50 million compensation. Now, they have agreed to take a smaller fee. So it's an undisclosed fee. They're saying that he's taking around 30 million. So 30 million, let's just call it 30 million. 35 million to get him in the door. You gave him 300 million to spend, and then you pay him 30 million to leave. So 30 million, 35 million, that's 65 million, and then another 300 million. So 365 million you have spent in the 6 months of the Graham Potter campaign, guys. So can a financial advisor please ring the show and tell me how the fuck that's going to work? And you wouldn't mind, guys, the players they've signed. Mudryk, he missed 2 sitters the last day. Aubameyang, Fofana's a grand player. Koulibaly, load of shit. Cucurella. Did you see Cucurella the last day, guys? 60 million on a left back. You wouldn't mind. You already have Ben Chilwell that you signed for another outrageous fee for a left back. Oh my God, guys, I don't know what to say. I'm not even a Chelsea fan. I hate Chelsea. I hate Chelsea. I hate what they stand for. I couldn't support them in a month of Sundays. But this is taking the biscuit, no? And you wouldn't mind. This is how much they've shat the pence. Now, by the time I release this podcast, probably they have a new manager. But what they've left in charge is Graham Potter's third assistant manager, that guy Bruno something, the Spanish guy that was playing for Brighton 3 years ago. This man has no coaching experience. This was his first coaching job underneath Graham Potter, and now you're going to let him be the interim manager, which means to say that she had nothing lined up. But here's my conspiracy brain linking into it. They seen that Brendan Rodgers got sacked. Maybe Brendan Rodgers is their guy, which moves me lovely on to my next point in the podcast that we'll finish up with. Brendan Rodgers got sacked by Leicester. Leicester are second last in the Premier League. To be honest, that's the nail in the coffin. The only man that will keep him up is Brendan Rodgers. You go through their team, guys, it's a load of shit. Like, don't be thinking in your head, oh, Leicester won the league a few years ago. They won the FA Cup 2 years ago. They must be amazing. No, ever since their owner died, they have no money and have been selling all their best assets. They've been so mismanaged by the Sun. Like Yuri Tillemans is going to leave for free this summer. They could have got 80 million for him 2 years ago. And you know what? Could have got 40 million for him last year. Same with Ndidi and all these players. They let Kasper Schmeichel go for 1 million. They didn't sign a replacement. They just threw Danny Ward inside goals. Danny Ward has been throwing the ball into the back of the net for the last 5 months. That's not Brendan Rodgers' fault. Like, how can you blame Brendan Rodgers for that? Do you know? It's not his fault. Like, first of all, Leicester, like I said, they're going to get relegated now, in my opinion. There might be a great escape and the best judge of character ever. Maybe I'm wrong. But for me, they're gone, okay? Now, this summer, and actually, this summer and January, their combined signings were 40 million. Like 40 million is not enough to replace an aging Jamie Vardy. It is not enough to replace Fofana gone at the back. It's not enough. It's not enough to replace the aging, like Tillemans is getting fat. Indeed, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. That is not enough. So, you sold 81 million. So, Leicester sold 81 million and they bought 40 million. They made a 41 million profit. Where's that gone? So, their manager actually made him 40 million. And he's a bad guy. The man should be given 20 of it, boy. An absolute joke. I love Brendan Rodgers. Again, things didn't work out great for Brendan Rodgers at Liverpool. He should have had a league title if people are going to go, if Steven Gerrard didn't slip. No, if Man City played by rules. Sure, look, they're under investigation by Financial Fair Play because of that season, the 13-14 season. We'll never see the league for that. It's all corrupt. But Brendan Rodgers did a great job for Liverpool, in my opinion. The last year didn't go well. We had an aging Steven Gerrard. I don't think he treated that situation well, but like that, poison chalice. If you're letting go on the club's hero, it's not going to end well. You got to deal with that like a man. Do you know what I mean? And he did. Yeah, I think it's absolutely awful. Ever since their owner died in a helicopter crash, they've had no money. The son then doesn't know what he's doing. Like most billionaires, their son, it's not the son's fault. Jesus Christ, you are a multi-billionaire. He's too busy playing with Lamborghinis and stuff and trying to go off with supermodels. I don't know what billionaire sons try to do. I assume that's the stuff they try to do. So they're not great businessmen. The father's a great businessman. The son just parties. And now he's in charge. I don't blame him either. Do you know what I mean? But I won't be getting rid of Rodgers. I think they shat the pence. There. And now I'm wondering, are these two sackings intrinsically linked? Will Graham Potter take on Leicester? And will Brendan Rodgers take the Chelsea job? Of course, Chelsea have a huge history with Brendan Rodgers. He was a youth team manager there. They all have great time for him in Chelsea. He knows how it goes. He knows how to play ball, and he's still very young. I love Brendan Rodgers. I think he's a great manager. I think any top 4 team would be very lucky to have him. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you think on the Cranky Pundit. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But what I will say, there's an awful amount of managers getting sacked and owners getting blamed. And I just find it it's the only sport in the world, or maybe it's sport in general, where a player can't lose his job. Do you know? Like Trent Alexander Arnold has been terrible for the last 8 months. And it's amazing how he keeps his job and Graham Potter loses his and Brendan Rodgers loses his. Like I'm a stand-up comedian. If I do 8 months worth of gigs and I don't make anybody laugh, and I have a shit show, I die on my hole every night of the week, 8 months. And people are leaving the comedy club. People are walking out. People are leaving bad reviews on the website. All this kind of stuff. I'll stop getting booked by club owners, and I won't be a comedian. I lose my job. I'll do something else. But I'm not asking for Trent Alexander Arnold to lose his job. But isn't it amazing how you can be shit and not do your job for that amount of time and be a liability for your club and your fans and have no repercussions? Other than, I see what they're all saying about me on the internet. I pay no mind. Fucking look at what we're saying about you on the internet, man. And give a fuck. If not, go off to Leyton Orient or go play for PSG, Trent. They'd love you. You'd have all the time in the world right back to go play the balls you want. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm trying to say here, guys. I don't actually dislike Trent Alexander Arnold. I really just think he needs the rest of the season now on the bench. Go get him, counselling. Get him all the help he needs so that there's no excuses next year when it starts. And if he's not at the height, then cash him in. Like I said, Michael Owen broke my heart. Fernando Torres broke my brother's heart. I feel like the new current crop of Liverpool fans haven't had their heart broke. And that's where all this loyalty is coming from. Do you know what I mean? There's no one person bigger than the club. Simple as that. Not one person is bigger than the club. Don't make it about that. So yeah, that's my rant, guys. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please give it a 5-star review, whatever platform you're listening to it on. And I know the YouTube channel is new, guys. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you haven't, please do recommend it for a friend. Comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks very much for listening, guys. Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.